I'm back with stuff and things, and I'm happy to be here on Dumb Fekk Friday, my favorite allegedly weekly show, depending on who you ask. Certainly not if you ask me, because I don't want to do this every Friday. Unfortunately, that does not seem that I will get my wish. Hopefully next week. I don't know. On the plus side, I've got myself some alcohol. So, I got that going for me, which is nice. I'll take it. We got a few things we're going to cover today. I'm going to start with... We got Luke, Bearded Heretic, whose channel I definitely recommend you go check out, talking to some awfully fragile people who are mad about a book title. I got Katie Daisy getting into it with Repsion and Keemstar, and like just the misogyny and you know, Matt Dillahunty, because of course we're talking about Matt Dillahunty. He's only my favorite person to talk about. I don't know what you mean. I just got out of the shower, as per usual, but, I mean, I look less like a drowned rat now that my hair is shorter. As I procrastinate talking about this, because I haven't consumed enough of this yet. This is rum and orange juice, by the way, because I didn't have any other mixer. I didn't just want to drink rum. Okay. Shaving lotion is alcohol too. Matt Dillahunty the Pope. That's what it feels like. Okay. The question is you know what? I'm gonna let you guys decide. You guys tell me, where do you guys want to start today? Do you guys want to start with Matt Dillahunty? Do you guys want to start with the book about racism? Or do you guys want to start off with you misogynistic bros on YouTube? We'll do 1 for Dillahunty, 2 for Bearded Heretic, and 3 for Katie Daisy. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. You tell me what order you want me to go in. Will I drink more alcohol? Oh, this is definitely not clear liquor. This is, I put Kraken in this. Can you say Steve is a poo-poo dickhead? I'll totally donate nothing for that. I'll do that for free. Steve is a poo-poo dickhead. I do that shit for free. 1, I gotta eat in a minute and I want to be around for my 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're gonna go start with Matt Dillahunty. Okay, so we're gonna start with Matt, then we're gonna move on to Luke, then we'll talk about Katie Daisy and her run-in with Repsion. Okay, so let's pull up this tweet. I'm gonna probably assume a lot of you guys know a little bit about what's been going on if you've been following. I was on vacation, so some of this is, you know, news to me, but I'm not surprised. Like, none of this is surprising in the slightest. Matt Dillahunty is egocentric and is kind of an asshole about it? No! No way! Never would have fucking seen that coming. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some ginger ale at some point, so I have a better mixer. But, okay. So, ex-cult baby, who, basically left the ACA and left a little bit of a decent-sized Twitter thread talking about their experience with what had gone on with them and why they felt uncomfortable and why they kind of didn't like where it was going, and they got kind of... fired is the right word. They got removed from Talk Heathen. Now, at this point, Eric and V, had already left Talk Heathen. They'd already been gone for a little while. Now, what happened there is still a little bit unclear. People have not seemed to... Nobody that I'm aware of has really come forward about if there was anything, like, douchey going on. But Autumn made an interesting video talking about how... and Bearded Heretic, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, also talked about Autumn's video, and I definitely recommend going and checking out. And she is talking about the internal workings of the ACA and some problematic things about how the ACA is functioning and how they're not transparent about how they're spending their money. Now, so anybody who knows much about the ACA knows that they have a lot of YouTube shows and shows that the hosts are connected to that aren't maybe not quite as directly the ACA, but they are definitely geared and targeted towards that same umbrella. The Line being one of them. Now, The Line was created by Jimmy Snow, which hosts a lot of the same people from the ACA and a lot of people that work with the ACA. So people like Casey and GE, because I lump those two together. If one of them's involved, the other one's involved. Shannon Q is over there. Nate Brody is over there. There's like some interesting people surrounded by some other interesting people. We'll put it that way. The Line was a YouTube channel that Jimmy Snow made, and it kind of got passed off, and Matt Dillahunty is one of the main features, I guess, of that show. So there's some questions revolving around in Jimmy's apology video, or his... no, sorry, not the apology video. In his... One of the initial videos that pissed people off was him talking about how he needed people to watch his Sometime show to make enough money because he had people working for him. And so some questions have come up, at least in my mind, about who he's talking about. And it seems to have come to light that Jimmy is still very much involved with The Line. So is the people that he's paying people that work on The Line, and is that associated with the ACA? Because if the ACA is a nonprofit, that could be problematic for a lot of reasons, or maybe no reasons, depending how they have it set up. And the answer is there is no transparency, so we don't know. It's a sticky mess. Now, Steve and I are going to talk a little bit more about that directly on Monday. So come over to Monday's show. You can call in and voice your thoughts on it. It's very confusing and very odd, and the information isn't exactly forthcoming. Part of the issue that I take with, particularly if you're a Patreon and a member, I should say, I wrote sort of a blog about this Gordian knot of people that are all sort of just douchebags, that are all just feeding off each other and just get it, like, yeah, they're encouraging their own influence by boosting each other, I guess, would be a good way to put it. Now, I mean, when you're friends with people, that's what you do, right? If you're friends with people, it makes sense that you would boost their YouTube channels. It's just the behavior and tactics that in one case isn't okay and the other case is okay, right? So here we've got ex-Cult Baby after they had come forward. So after they'd been removed from the channel for the ACA, the Talk Heathen stuff. Here's them posting that they got a message from Matt. And it just says, not sure why you felt the need to lie, but that's your choice. And then this person just laughed them off. This seems to be the same kind of approach that Jimmy Snow takes in his messages, where he just kind of comes out the gate with something, because it's like, what lie? What are you talking about? What? Where? I don't. This is not only incredibly dismissive, but also accusatory, and also like we've talked about power dynamics. You've got somebody who's on the board of the ACA that you had been doing work for, coming in and accusing you of lying in such a dismissive. This is not a good look. So Matt responds with, "Okay, let's post all of it, spin whatever narrative you like while calling me a boomer and talking about my lily white ass. You're a liar, and I never did anything but be kind to you." So now, one of the fun things is, in X-Cult Baby's big thread, they never named anybody. They didn't say who did what to them. They were actually very conscious to not give too specific of details. They talked mostly just about how they felt they were treated and what they were disappointed about. They didn't say specific names. They didn't say specific situations. And of course they did that on purpose because I don't think they wanted to harm the ACA. Matt's doing all that work for them. Because Matt's like, oh, you're not gonna burn my house down? Okay, I'm gonna burn it down and then say it was you who did it. So this is now the other way around. Not sure why you felt the need to lie, but that's your choice. Laughing my ass off. Okay, boomer. Wow, what's wrong with you? You just called them a liar, Matt. What? This is a way better... This response is a way better response than you would get from most people. This is such like a dismissive, okay, whatever, you think what you want, I'm not arguing with you. And this is, wow, what's wrong with you? What? What? And Icarus makes a fantastic point. I don't know why Matt posted that. It does not make him look better. Correct. This does not make Matt look better. This makes him look worse. What's wrong with you, my guy? I said exactly what happened to me, and you invited your lily white ass into my DMs to call me a liar. How in the fuck exactly do you expect me to respond to that, hun? Question mark. This is fair. It seems like after calling somebody a liar, he seems to be saying that, well, after I called you a liar, you called me names and you didn't take me seriously, and so you look like the asshole because you called me a boomer and white. And it's like, what? Matt needs a PR guy who's not Matt. Correct. Correct. I don't know what to tell you about this, because this is like such a bizarre interaction. Like, so actually, if I'm not mistaken, if I go back here, so now that you kind of know what happened with this, because this blew my mind, it matches when it very much matches Matt's arrogant entrance into conversations or into situations that he may or may not be aware of, or may not be a part of, or may not be partially a part of. If you go and watch my my video about him showing up to talk about Non Sequitur show and what had gone on with Red's rhetoric, you will see the same type of behavior, where he kind of just shows up into a thread being like, but I'm Matt Dillahunty, you should give me information. And it's like, I don't know you, I'm not friends with you. Stop trying to take advantage of what you perceive is you have a one-up or power over people because you have a larger platform that they ought to bend to your will because of that. It's the same kind of problem that you saw with Jimmy Snow and his entrance into conversations. If you go look at the last Dumb Fekk Friday, where I showed some of the DMs that I was getting from Jimmy like 2 years ago, this is consistent, right? It's the same kind of thing. He enters into these conversations, he responds with this, like, that he's so arrogant that, oh, well, you called me a boomer, therefore you're wrong, posts this and makes himself look like a complete asshole. It's like, this doesn't help you. What are you doing? Stop. Don't. Why would you even message this person? You're on the board for the ACA. This person said they had a problem with the internal affairs of the ACA and did not throw you under the bus by naming a single person. Then you came in here swinging at them, and now you've made yourself part of the problem. So if you thought this is the same thing that Jimmy did with Rachel Oates. Rachel gives a vague experience, asks for people's opinion about it, or just wants to sort of be like, hey, am I the asshole in this situation? Looking to see what other people think about something. And then Jimmy's like, oh, it was me being an asshole. Oh my God, pay attention to me. And it's like, why would you do that? And then he shows the conversation, and it's no, it's you. You're the asshole in this situation. Matt's doing the exact same thing. This guy didn't say Matt's name whatsoever, didn't even imply that he was talking about Matt, and then Matt comes in here and said, no, I'm the asshole. Give me credit. I can't. Oh, okay. Alright. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, Evan said, here it is. This was brilliant. Evans Murphy, I applaud you. Because this person responded to him retweeting this and talking about how this makes Matt look bad. I agree with him. What's with the name calling and constant verbal attacks? Not a good look. You guys call Matt a bully, but then act like this. Grow up. Response, hey Alexa, what is the paradox of tolerance? Hey Siri, what is a power differential? I applaud you. That is a brilliant answer. I almost want to do a special Caffeine Corner episode because we never talked about this too much. We did not talk about power differentials, nor did we talk about the paradox of tolerance. I will give you a brief, very brief, the way I view it. So take that with a grain of salt. The paradox of tolerance is essentially about how, well, you have your standards, so you need to treat everybody by those standards, which means if somebody's a dick to you, if you say, hey, listen, you shouldn't just go around calling people assholes, and somebody's an asshole to you, and you're an asshole back, and somebody says, well, why are you being an asshole to that person? You said that you shouldn't be an asshole to people. Or, hey, you told this person to fuck off. That's kind of rude. You're a bad person. It's like, this person's trying to tell me that, like, I attack people. Like, this person, like, it's a matter of essentially somebody pokes and prods and bullies you, treats you like shit, and when you defend yourself and kind of clap back, you're portrayed to be the bad person because it's a detraction from understanding how we got to that point, right? It's I almost want to call it apologetics. Helios for 5 says, Chesh, are you sure you're not the dumb feck this week for coming back to Twitter after your vacation? Just joking. Welcome back. I hope you had fun. I did have a pretty good vacation. And yes, no, I am definitely, this is me being the dumb feck for having to be here, for going back onto Twitter. God damn it. Alright, so power differential. The power differential in this case is this person is talking about, like, ex-cult baby is talking about their experience. And in talking about their experience, somebody from the board of the place they were talking about, who has a really large following on the internet, like, as well as within the atheist community, going into this person's DM and making accusations, and depending on how you interpret that, it could come across as very threatening or pushing a lot of pressure onto somebody. And then that person responds also publicly, trying to present things in a way that makes them look better. I mean, he failed, but that was the attempt, right? So there's a power imbalance. There's a power differential between the two people that are at odds, right? Right. Yeah. The Chemo is right. It's about you ought to tolerate abuse, because if you don't, you're... Oh, wait, did I get it wrong? I feel like I'm probably just... Paradox of intolerance has to do with having to allow anything and everything, including people that are actually intolerant, who maybe... Yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe I wasn't clear in the way I was saying that. Let me try again. What I'm talking about is you are expected to tolerate anything that anybody does to you, right? So, because if you lash out, or if you say, hey, this isn't okay, or you defend yourself, or you clap back, you're presented as being in the wrong because you're the adult in the situation. Be the better person. Is that a little bit more clear? I think I feel like I started and then kind of just got off track. Hopefully that's a little bit more accurate. There's a power. Back to what I was saying. There's a power imbalance here, a very strong one. Things like this is why victims feel pressure to not speak out. So how does somebody speak out against the ACA as a whole? How does somebody who has no voice speak out against somebody like Matt Dillahunty? Right? It's not that simple. It's not that easy. Like, I would suspect the reason Murphy said this, I don't know what Murphy's reasoning is for sure, but I would suspect, the way I read this, is that this person, this Ryan person, is totally okay with everything Matt has said and done in this scenario, and is focusing only on this person calling Matt a boomer. Right? Like, that clearly, even Matt bringing this up is clearly a detraction from the issue. You, person with power, specifically in the area that this person was talking about, went into that person's DMs to call them a liar, which, because of your position, puts a lot of pressure onto that person, particularly when this person did not make any accusations. They said, hey, this is how I felt, this is what I didn't like. And so now you're saying, hey, you're a liar about your feelings, and I'm telling you this in private. This was not in public. They made it public. I've been sent a picture. Oh, here you go. It's something way more... Oh, thanks for I'm gonna get in trouble for putting this up now. God damn it. Let's take a look at the graphic. Paradox of tolerance. Should a tolerant society tolerate intolerance? You want more tolerance? Respect my ideas. The answer is no. It's a paradox, but all unlimited tolerance can lead to the extinction of tolerance. When we extend tolerance to those who are openly intolerant, let's give them a chance, the tolerant ones end up being destroyed, and tolerance with them. Any movement that preaches intolerance and persecution must be outside of the law. It's as paradoxical as it seems. defending tolerance requires not tolerate the intolerant. Right. So you're expected to tolerate Matt's behavior. But if you tolerate Matt's behavior, you squash people who speak out against that intolerant behavior. Hopefully that's more clear. No. I probably should have just looked. I probably should have just pulled up the graphic first and then made my analogy instead of the other way around. I did that backwards. You'll have to excuse me. I'm having a day. All right. So yeah, this person is saying, "Hey, listen, your insults are intolerant." Sorry, this person is intolerant to any insults, but isn't saying anything about Matt calling this person a liar. All right. Oh no, Feline, no, please correct me all day, every day. I probably should have been clear at the very beginning of this. I'm having a day. I'm probably gonna get like everything wrong all day, every day. Like I said, we're gonna go more in depth in this on Monday, but yeah, no, I should have done this the other way around. I should have grabbed the definition first instead of doing this backwards. That's my mistake. That's what I get for being like half-brained today. Okay. I don't know if there's much else to say about Matt. This is the kind of, besides like the absolute, like this screenshot screams like it's the exact same shit. Like this is so accusatory to somebody who didn't say anything about anybody and only talked about their experience and how they feel. You know what I mean? Like if I went to a restaurant, okay, all right, bear with me on this. If I went to a restaurant and I said, hey, I don't like seafood, for example, let's say, and I went to a restaurant that served more, like, they had like a decent seafood menu, but they didn't only serve seafood. And then the chef comes out and says, you're a liar. My seafood is amazing. And I say, I'm like, what do you, okay. Like, I'm not saying anything about your seafood or whether or not you're a good chef. I'm not questioning or speaking out or making any claims against your particular seafood. I'm saying I, in general, don't like seafood, so I'm gonna order something else. And then I get berated by the chef and kicked out of the restaurant. What? I don't I don't understand. Here's the thing. If Matt was like, hey, this person lied about a situation, why is he going into that person's DMs unless they have a good relationship? Right? Which they clearly don't. Like, they clearly do not have a good relationship, right? And if you look at the scroll on the side here, it does not look like they have any kind of actual interaction on Twitter, at least Messenger, before this. So, I understand that if you think that somebody was wrong about something or incorrect, or you suspect that they might be lying, but there's somebody that you're friends with or somebody that you respect, or there's like a social construct there, I can understand saying, hey, listen, reaching out to them in DMs and saying, hey, listen, I think you're incorrect about this, or I think there's some kind of misunderstanding about the situation. Let's talk about it. Sure. That's not what Matt did. Matt slid into this person's DMs and said, you're a liar, but that's your choice, which is basically fuck you. So if you were going to do that anyway, and then you are going to put it out, why wouldn't you demonstrate or show what the person lied about? Like, what is the point of this besides I'm trying to look better? Where's the... I mean, yeah, it is coming at it sideways. Matt is supposedly a skeptic, for one. He's supposedly somebody who is an advocate. There was an issue within his own group, which he is a board member of, according to what he said. I'm not questioning that. If he's the board member and there were issues going on, why is his response to slide into the person who's making these issues known DMs, calling them a liar, then making it public without explaining what the person is even lying about? He hasn't come close. He hasn't even come close to demonstrating a lie, let alone he hasn't even told us what the lie is or is even about. What's the lie about? What's the lie? And how is it a lie? What is it? And show us. Show, don't tell. You're making a claim. You're saying it's a lie. You're all about, hey, listen, if people make claims, they gotta back it up. Matt's making a claim. He's not backing it up. You said this person lied. Show us where. If he can show it, I'll be like, yeah, no, this person lied. End of discussion. But no, we can't have that. That would be resolving an issue instead of actually causing more issues. Why would we have that? And yeah, Intrigue Beeline makes a really good point. Matt did the Streisand effect. Him doing this boosts this whatever issue is into way more of a public sphere, and way more people are going to talk about it. Quote, Icarus looks like is giving me ex-cult babies other tweet about this. Quote, everyone else from the ACA who has messaged me after my announcement expressed well wishes, concern, and curiosity as to the situation. Matt DM'd me to call me a liar. Right? What board member behaves like this? What, like, aren't you representing the ACA as a board member when you're behaving like this? Like, what? I understand that people are individuals, right? Like, people are individuals. They're gonna have their things. They're gonna have their shtick. I understand that. I get that. Okay. However, when you build your entire online presence and identity around that business, then people are going to associate you and that it's the problem with being the face. If you're the front man of a band and you're the face of the band and you behave like a shithead, you're going to bring the whole band down with you, even if they didn't do anything, approve of your behavior, or if you were acting as an individual. If it's the drummer who doesn't have much of a face in the band, who doesn't have, like, people don't recognize him as the like, his individuality is more separated from that entity, maybe they'd get away with it, or maybe they just replace that one member. But you Gordian, this is Gordian knot of people, I shit you not. I shit you not. Look at who's around Matt. Look at who is on the line. Look at what's going on with Jimmy Snow. Look at how the people that are on the line have behaved and reacted, or have not reacted, to what has gone on with Jimmy. That alone ought to be enough. Besides talking about the number of people that are on that show that are related to what had happened to Steve and the Non Sequitur show 2 years ago. This isn't a one-off situation. This is an ongoing problem of assholes that are all just wrapped in around each other, and it's garbage. It's so garbage, and I hate it. I don't hate things often. I usually don't hate people, but I super duper hate this. Nope, don't like it. Nope. Icarus asks, oh, he retracted it, never mind. I see it, but I'll wait. Letty, I felt X. No, you didn't. You lie. You lie. I do not know why Eric left. Nothing would make me happier than talking to Eric about anything at all. I would just love to talk to that man. He seems like the kindest person ever, and I hear he gives really good hugs. But I can understand why you might not want to talk about this. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to see the kind of behavior that Matt and his ACA have fostered. Bearded Heretic over here having this lovely conversation with somebody who goes by Renovation? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is the kind of shit that I see coming from, like, new atheism garbage. So, Luke retweeted this. Bearded Heretic retweeted this. Go check out Bearded Heretic's channel. This guy can't handle that a black woman wrote a book with the title, quote, Why I No Longer Talk to White People About Race, end quote, which is a reflection on an essay she wrote with the same title and a comprehensive history of British racism. Why the fucking title? Talking about the book. Why refuse to talk to a certain people of a specific color out of principle? Why can we talk about that? Why do you support a person with such blatant prejudices which she chose to make public? She does talk to them, referring to a black woman writing a book. It's based on the book's title, not the content of the book. I want to be clear. She does talk to them. The book starts out as her saying she wrote a blog post about how she's done with it, but now she sees that it is a requirement, but that also white people outright to be having these conversations. Read the book before you judge it based on the title. If she does talk to them, white people, she should choose a different fucking title for her book. She is a liar and a hypocrite if she writes a book with the title quote, well, duh, I don't talk to white people anymore, even though she still does. Sleep in the fucking bed you yourself made. K. Alright. There's a little touch of irony or hypocrisy about this person calling this other person a hypocrite in saying that, hey, listen, if they're still talking to white people, then they need to rename their book title or they're a liar because their title of their book is the title of a blog post they made that they've changed their mind on and they're writing a book explaining their experience. Ignoring that hyperbole and marketing are a thing that exists. There's commercials about people orgasming off of cheese. Like, dude, it's a title? Lighten the fuck up a little bit. Why are you so fragile? Please take your titties and contain the calamity that is your memories. It's okay. But you quoted the book title wrong to make a point utilizing hyperbole. So why is it okay for you to do that, but not okay for the person who wrote the book to do that, based only on the title and not the actual content of the book? Oh my god, a black lady doesn't want to talk to white people about racism anymore. How dare she? Nobody's entitled to talk to anybody else about any topic, even if it's a topic they regularly talk about. There's a difference between pointing out and recognizing racism, as in like, hey, listen, I don't like this group of people, and I don't want them or will get in the way of their rights as people. And I, as an individual, choose not to have, or was choosing not to have this conversation because of this situation. However, I've recognized that despite that it's an uncomfortable situation for me, I want to do it anyway because it's necessary. I get so mad at a fucking title. It's the title of the book. And it's the title of the... Oh, God, there's, like, a reason why the book is titled that way that isn't even just marketing. There's, like, a whole history that Luke goes into. But... books can't be clickbait. You can't click a book. You know what? You're right. I take it all back. Clearly, because books definitely always are exactly what the title says, and they never use hyperbole whatsoever. Why are you so angry right now? Because you contradict yourself. Because you promote literature that is inherently inconsistent. You called them a liar because of a book. You didn't read the book. Why do people do this? Why do people get so upset? Listen, if a black lady doesn't want to do a thing, she doesn't have to do a thing. If she doesn't want to interact with you, she's not required to interact with you based on your skin color. That's not how that works. If somebody doesn't... Let me flip it. Let me say, hey, listen, this white guy... So she's a black woman who's the author, who says she doesn't want to talk to white people about this specific topic. Okay? This specific topic involving them mostly. So let's flip it. Let's say, hey, listen. A white man does not, because she's a black woman, a white man does not want to have a conversation, is tired of and does not want to have conversations with black women about race anymore. Does that make them racist? No. They're not stopping the conversation from happening. They might be missing out. They might be missing out on the conversation because there's probably a lot that black women in general can add to the conversation, but they're not stopping anybody else from having their conversation. They're not stopping people from talking to other black women, especially when what this white man in this hypothetical is saying is that, hey, listen, I tried to have this conversation. It sucked. It sucked for me because they were awful to me because of this, that, and the other thing. But I've learned that I need to have this conversation anyway because it's important. This is absurd to me. It's not even like the person, is this person Renee? Renee does not even, they're complaining about the title. I want to be clear. They're complaining about the title of the book. They're not complaining about the content. They're complaining about the title and calling them a liar because they referenced how... I was on vacation, and I want to go back on vacation already, and my drink is empty. I don't have the patience for people getting mad. This is the kind of thing that I mean by people shutting down the conversation. There's a conversation to be had about the way black women are treated when they attempt or are part of these sorts of conversations about racism. right? And to say that she's a liar because of the title of her book instead of actually engaging in the topic and the conversations and the content of the book because you're bitching about the fucking title. That's like, hey, listen, this is, fuck, we're back to Jimmy Snow again. God damn it, this is Jimmy complaining and saying he's not going to address or talk about or even watch Katie Daisy's video because he doesn't like the way she titled it. It's dismissive. It shuts down the conversation that you appear to care about, allegedly, and makes it shitty for everyone. In this tweet alone, you're demonstrating the reason why the book is titled that way. You're not entitled to speak with her. Doesn't mean she's going to stop talking about the issue. It doesn't mean that she's going to prevent white people from talking about the issue. It doesn't mean that white people can't engage with the issue or that she thinks white people shouldn't. She's drawing a boundary and you're shitting on her for drawing a boundary. Is this because she's a woman and you feel entitled to her opinion? You feel that you're entitled to her intention or attention? What is your reasoning behind why you think this is okay or reasonable at all? I don't understand any of this. Let's go back further. Look, if the author of the book with that title actually takes the book and that title seriously, then I have nothing left to say concerning the author, except calling her racist and a liar. If you refuse to talk to white people, if you refuse to treat them as actual people and as equals, guess what? You're racist. So if you don't talk to somebody, you're not treating them as an equal? I am an angry goblin. So I'm going back to my restaurant analogy. If I don't like seafood, or I decide, hey, listen, I don't really enjoy seafood, so I'm not going to have it, am I racist against seafood chefs? Like, how do you address something like that without coming across as dismissive? Because pretty much anything I would say about this would be dismissive as fuck. Because, like, that's absurd. That is absolutely absurd. If you refuse to talk to white people, she didn't say that. Not even in the title. The title says, I refuse to talk to, why I stopped talking to white people about this issue. That doesn't say, I'm never talking to any white person ever again. And again, it's still just the title. It's not the content. It just makes me cry. Letty says, what if there's a book titled My Infinite Endless Anger, and it's a book about how someone got over being anger? It's the same thing. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Letty. Correct. God damn it. Am I going around saying that nobody should ever consume seafood, and also that every seafood shop, like seafood, should be abolished, and that other people shouldn't eat seafood because I don't choose to partake? This is I don't know I don't know Renee. I don't know if Renee is white. I don't know if Renee is black. I have no idea. But this reeks of privilege. This reeks of entitlement, that you are entitled to having a conversation with an individual about whatever topic you want to talk about. They don't have to have that conversation with you. And if they choose not to, it doesn't mean they hate you. It doesn't mean they have anything against you. Letty, Why I Kill Supervillains, a book about how they go through talk therapy and make villains into model citizens. It's hyperbole. My guy. If you refuse to talk to white people, if you refuse to treat them as people and as equals, guess what? You're racist. I guess, but that has no application in this case. They wrote a book. They're clearly still talking to white people. Why is she... oh, God, why would the author... I can't. Especially if the conclusion and part of the book is talking about why she believes she should continue to have the conversation. Like, talk about the content, for the love of fuck. I don't know if this is racist or sexist, but it kind of comes off as both. Being like, hey, listen, not only am I entitled to your time as a woman, but I'm also entitled to your time as a black woman specifically. Because I'm white. Fucking Christ. So unfortunately, whatever this was is gone. It apparently violated Twitter rules. I don't know. Whatever. And somehow this started with vaccinations? Are they disallowed from getting vaxxed? Are there not enough vaccinations out there for black people? When and where did this happen? Who passed this law? This sounds to be like victim complex pipe dream more than real life. What evidence do you have? And then Luke jumps in. Actually, it ties into socioeconomic status. People who are of low socioeconomic status are less likely to be signed up to a doctor. Correct. Might not have the provisions, transport or time. Correct. To actually get the vaccine, go to a vaccine center, and more likely to be people of color, thanks to things like redlining. This is like historical. This is the kind of thing people talk about when they talk about systemic racism. A lot of this comes up when you talk about voting polls also, and changing where a voting poll is, and the fact that you don't get the day off. So if you're going to go get your vaccine, there's a decent chance that you're going to have to take time off of work, and you might not also be able to afford that, even if you can get there, right? It's worth thinking a little deeper as to why this might be the case, as it's not as simple as, quote, the vaccines are available, go get it, for everyone. Correct. I agree. That, like, these are facts. Like, these don't seem to be an opinion thing. This seems to be a facts thing. Not saying that I think the answer is to not have, quote, vaccine passports, but do better outreach to these communities to ensure that people are able to access vaccines. I'm of the opinion that when it comes to... This is me personally. I'm usually of the opinion when it comes to vaccines or anything like that, it ought to be an opt-out system rather than an opt-in. Right? The answer certainly isn't to say that it is racism. No, I agree. It depends on what you mean. I personally think that health racism is a big issue. If you're interested in a British perspective, a good book... Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Eddo-Lodge. Look, if the author of a book with... They didn't even look the book up. Oh, God, they didn't even look up the book. Look at the time. Look at the timestamp. 9:37 a.m. Look at the timestamp. 9:34. They didn't look it up. They saw this tweet and responded to the title. I mean, to be fair, there is something to say about marketing, about making the title of your book like controversial or thought-provoking or something that will incite conversation. Well, it worked. It got a conversation going about the book. Look, if the author of a book with that title actually takes that book and that title seriously, then I have nothing left to say concerning the author. If you refuse to talk to white people, which was the retweet you looked at, that's not what it says. Even if you... I am no longer talking to white people about race. If you refuse to talk to white people, if you refuse to treat them as actual people and as equals, guess what? You're racist. It doesn't say they don't treat white people as people. It doesn't say that they don't refuse to talk to white people on a whole. It doesn't say that they refuse to do anything. It just says they just don't want to talk about this one topic. How dare this one black woman talk about their struggles in talking about this thing with another race of people that have historically oppressed them. Not only as a black person, but also as a woman. I hate everything about this. I'm not sure how there could be health racism in the UK. Okay. It sounds like a history lesson is in order, I guess. I'm not British. I'm not gonna have that conversation. I'm just gonna leave that sitting there, let you guys think and talk about it who actually are from the UK, who have a little bit more of a historical background, so you can talk about it a little bit. I already know too much American history and not enough Canadian history, so I'm gonna move on. Lastly, let's talk about Katie Daisies, who has been on this channel and is lovely, by the way. I have had no issues with her. I have not seen her say anything that I find terribly outrageous, and I have had nothing but pleasant interactions with her. So, let's see about her interaction with Keemstar and Repzion. So, I noticed Repzion being kind of weird back when we were talking like a year or two ago when we were talking about Lily Jean. That's a throwback. We were talking about cyberbullying and stuff like that. So, I'm just gonna jump back here. She's coming back with a bit of a clapback. Can you explain to my tiny lady brain how this is a joke? This is where it initially started. Keemstar, who is currently in this little bit of a debacle of dating a 20-year-old, and the more that comes out about it, the weirder and uncomfortable it makes people, and so people are rightfully asking questions. Now, may they be asking the correct questions, or maybe they are making accusations. In one case, I would say fine. In the other case, I would say maybe slow your roll, but not the point. Keemstar retweeted this person saying, quote, all the horny dude bros think it's rad, but the people with morals think it's gross. Yeah, no shit, homie. Keemstar said, as I've been saying, not one attractive female has an issue with my relationship. Only the ugly ones have an issue. Welcome to what I believe, personally, this is a personal belief, is probably the best example of an ad hom I have ever seen. This is a textbook, perfect example of an ad hom. I'm not gonna address your problems because you're ugly. As if that has anything to do with anything else. Hey, listen, if you're ugly, your opinion doesn't matter. Hey, if you're ugly, you're not, nothing you say is relevant about anything ever. Even about this. I hope you're not ugly. Shit blows my brain. I don't know, man. So not only is this terribly sexist, of course, not only is Keemstar's relationship with his current girlfriend reasonably questionable, but, like, ad homs for days. So Repzion decides to respond, that or they can't get with someone who is a provider. Now, I recommend watching Mika's video about this because it was actually very good. And she brought up an interesting point about the societal expectation of women in marriage, which basically is talking about how it wasn't until I'm not gonna put a date on it because it depends on where you live. Depending on where you live, women did not have access to even make their own bank accounts for a very surprisingly early period of time. So they may have had the right to vote, but they did not quite have the right to their own finances. Or they may have been able to work, but they were not able to put anything away for themselves without, I don't know, maybe put it in the mattress or some shit. So when women are expected to look for a provider, it's a throwback. It's a throwback to women were not allowed to provide for themselves. Now, does that mean that women should not provide for themselves, or does that mean that women who have other people provide for them are wrong for doing so? No, of course not. You can live whatever life you want. If you're comfortable in that relationship and you're happy in that relationship and it's consensual, there's no question on that consent, no problem. None whatsoever. You do you. If you're happy, you're not hurting anybody, and there's nothing hurting you that you're not aware of, or, like, as long as it's consensual, no issue. However, this is super fucking sexist. So, he's adding on to the ad hom saying that, hey, they might be attractive, but they can't get with somebody who is going to provide for them, assuming that they need that. Dude. So, he said this was a joke, and Katie Daisy did what I think is probably one of the best responses you can give when somebody makes a sexist joke. How is that a joke? Why is that funny? Can you please explain it to me? Yeah, there you go. Intrigued Feline being the champ today. In Canada, opening a bank account without anyone's permission occurred in 1964. Voting was in 1918. Thank you, Feline. So let's see what she's retweeting here. Ooh, spicy. I was going to make a video on the downfall of Jimmy Snow, former fan community, but now that Repsion is showing his whole ass on Twitter, I feel I may need to address it. Do we need to get balls deep on the basics of power dynamics again? I had feelings about him when he was accused of sexual assault, and his response was to tell victims they need to report their assaults to police. In fact, I actually started making a video about it, then I stopped. Now this. Why are men? I don't know who you are, but I'm going to say this. I have never been accused of sexual assault by anyone outside of Onision, who made that up, claiming I raped someone. I haven't, never would, or could, and if you give him credence in that false accusation, it says a lot about you. Second, I will always advise people to report a crime to the police. If a crime is committed, report it. That's how files get started on people. You are not any less or more of a person for not reporting a crime. It can help you in the long run legally. Documentation is important. This to me reads as Repsion doesn't know who he's talking to. Katie Daisy was a professional advocate, and as you'll see her get into exactly why and what she took issue with, and you'll notice that she didn't actually give credence to any of these things. She says, when he was accused, I had feelings about him when this happened, and his response telling people or telling victims that they need to report their assaults to the police. Pay very, very close attention, please, to what Katie is actually saying in this tweet. I had feelings about him when he was accused of sexual assault, and his response was to tell victims they need to report their assault to the police. The emphasis here is on his response. She's saying, hey, listen, I had feelings about this when this thing came up. Not that this thing was true, not that this thing happened, but when this thing happened and he said this, I had feelings about it. And now there's this whole situation of him being super sexist. So should I make a video about this? Why are men? Repsion immediately jumping on the sexual assault bit because he didn't understand what she said. Because he's already looking to dismiss her because, I don't know, maybe because he's a man or something, allegedly. I don't fucking know. Because, you know, why would I take criticism on board when I can just make accusations that you're supporting Onision? There are many... so let's go on. I can't help it in the long run. Here he is again encouraging victims to report to the police, which is fine, but the problem is it's not your only option, which we'll get into. There are many other options. Oh, go figure. Outside of reporting a sexual assault, including an advocate accompanying you to a forensic exam. Did you know you don't need to report to the police for a rape kit to be done? Did you know they'll hold that evidence for several months? You can get evidence collected if you are undecided about talking to the police without actually talking to the police. As a professional, I've never actually met helpful law enforcement that didn't serve to re-victimize my clients 10 times over. And then she goes on. I'm going to click on this real quick because she's got it in 2 parts. I'd suggest in the future you'd encourage people to talk to actual professionals about the crime they experienced, because even if it's not your intent, insisting victims go to the police can be re-victimizing to those that chose not to. You going to tell me to make a sandwich too? ? I encourage people to talk to therapists all the time on here and on YouTube. He does not know what she is talking about. He is not educated on the topic, which is why it's problematic when people with large platforms make solid overarching statements like, you need to go to the police, when there are other options. And he's not listening to what she is saying. Why? Because he's already dismissed her. Oh, maybe it's because she doesn't have a provider, dipshit. Fuck you. I encourage people to talk to a therapist, not sure what she's talking about. An advocate is not a therapist. Anyone can be re-victimized by someone not handling their case properly with care and delicacy. No, that's not what she's saying. She's not talking about the police not handling the case properly and with care and delicacy. She's talking about when you talk to the police, you have to give your statement multiple times, and you need to write it down. So the re-victimizing part is the fact that you have to repeat it. It does not matter how delicately you handle it. It doesn't matter how kind the police are to you. And that's not the police's fault. It's because they're saddled with this job that they're not really given the tools to handle properly in America. I mean, also in Canada in a lot of cases too, but this is an overarching problem that happens in a lot of places. I'm not gonna narrow it down to so specifically. She's literally a professional, and he's like, oh, but I tell people to talk to a therapist. That's a non sequitur because it's not related to what she's saying. Because he didn't listen to what she said. Because, I don't know. You tell me why. Tell me in the chat why you think that Repsion didn't fucking listen to what she said. Is it because his numbers are bigger than hers? Well, in my own personal experience, I've had the opposite of that. 'Cause you're a man! I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but men and women have very different experiences when dealing with the police. Period. Does that mean that men are always treated well? No. Does that mean that men are always treated well in cases of sexual assault? Absolutely not. It simply means that men and women are treated differently. What a hot fucking take that is. Well, in my own personal experience, I've had the opposite. Law enforcement is a mixed bag when it comes to reporting, but I don't think you should discard making a police report of a crime because they're all bad. That is not what she said. That is not what she said. Let me read it again. There are many options outside of reporting a sexual assault, including an advocate accompanying you to a forensic exam. Nowhere does this say don't report to the police. It's saying that there are other options besides encouraging victims to only speak to the police and always speak to the police. I want to bash my head against the wall. What is the point of advocacy? And the people have gone out of their way to get these other options and make them available when they didn't exist even in the early 90s and mid 90s. These options weren't even there. What's the point of creating these options if people aren't even going to acknowledge they exist and brush them aside? This man is literally brushing aside a woman talking about sexual assault and different avenues women can take by saying, well, I'm a man, I had a different experience. So, fuck you. God, you fucking douchebag. I can't handle this day. My drink is empty. I don't deserve this. I did nothing to deserve this ever. Katie did nothing to deserve this. Like, how big is Katie's channel? You want to talk about go right back to power dynamics? Fucking Repsion here with his fucking whatever followers and him encouraging people on Discord to fucking do shit to people. Being like, hey, yeah, fuck you, professional in this case. If you have a following, if you are a... Why are men? She's right. Why are men? Why? This goes back to... Actually, this goes back to this Luke one. Dude, person, I don't know if you're a woman, a man, I don't know what color your skin is. You ever consider that maybe the reason why black women don't maybe feel the need to talk to white people about race is because white people don't shut the fuck up about it? Have you looked at Fox News recently? Black women don't need to talk to me about their problems. They know what their problems are. It's my job to fucking listen to what their problems are. And when they ask me for help, to assist where I can. It's not my job to decide for them what they have issue with and what they don't. They don't fucking need my opinion. They've been going through it for years. They don't need me to fucking come in here and tell them how it is. Fucking entitled. Fucking God. Fucking. God. God damn it. Oh yeah, I'll throw in the hashtag not all men, by the way. Oh my god. Smitty makes a good point. Yes, I will listen to them and decide if I agree with what their problem is, assuming that they want my help. Yes, even if they disagree, sometimes listening is the best you can do, right? If you don't agree, then have an adult and reasonable discussion if they agree to have a discussion with you, right? And that's totally fine. I do need a punching bag. I should put one like in the corner back there and just fucking go at it. I don't have patience for this shit. I was on vacation. I'm gonna get gray hair. This is gonna give me gray hair. This specific video series, the Dumb Fekk Fridays, are going to age me 3 years every time I do one. It is now thunderstorming out, and I'm here for it. Okay. You said earlier by reporting... sorry, I jumped too far ahead. Just because they're all bad. I had an experience, therefore I'm invalidating every bad... Therefore, I'm going to invalidate everybody else's experience, including this professional who's explaining something to me. Huzzah! When did I say someone shouldn't report to the police? Correct, she never said that. Can you point that out? I said it's harmful to say all victims should report. I said victims should have access to... Okay, that's getting kind of aggressive. I'm gonna close the window real quick. Uno momento, por favor. Huzzah! Okay. Stephen Potts says, go to the cops. What if the abuser is a cop or any other times where that would be a horrible idea? Correct. Okay. When did I ever say you shouldn't go to the police? Can you point that out? I said it's harmful to say all victims should report. I said victims should have access to professionals who can advocate for their rights. That means including with the police. So there's a point in here that I think gets missed, and it's that victims should have access to professionals who can advocate for their rights, because when you're a victim and you're not in a good space, you've got PTSD or you're going through processing any portion of that at any degree, you may not be the best person to advocate for you. It's the same reason why I find a lot of funeral homes predatory. You are not in a good place, so we're going to take advantage of you and sell you this ridiculously expensive coffin for no reason. That means including with the police, because of course it does. You said earlier by reporting to the police it's re-victimizing the victim. I'm confused because you didn't listen. Or are you focusing on the word all that I used because all extends beyond the police? No, it doesn't. You said report to the police. All victims should report to the... You specified the police! You fucking liar! That's just a lie. Like, if you look up here, she says that they need to report, victims need to report their assaults to the police. I don't know who you are, but I'm going to say this. I have never been accused of blah, blah, blah. Don't care about that. I've never blah, 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 blah. Second, I will always advise people to report a crime to the police. He said police. Bullshit. You said earlier by reporting the police is re-victimizing. Are you focusing on the word all? She's focusing on the word need. Right there. Right. Read what she said. Slow your roll. Calm down. Stop thinking anybody's accusing you of assault, because nobody did in this thread that I'm seeing so far. And read what the professional is telling you. God damn it. Okay. Yeah, because I had my own experience. Therefore, I'm right. Why is your experience more valid than the professionals? Because that's what you're doing right now. You're invalidating her experience because you're saying you had your own, especially as a man versus a woman in this case. I'm curious to know what the experience entailed also, because I'm not that familiar with Repsion's personal life. So what was Repsion speaking with the police about? I've had good experiences with the police in different regards. Does that mean that my experience trumps other people's experiences? Especially relating to something that may be completely irrelevant to whatever heading that specific experience revolves around? I've never been involved with the police when it comes to sexual assault. So my experience with the police in regards to other things wouldn't have anything, wouldn't be relevant to the conversation. So, like, what the fuck? Anyway. Are you focusing on the use of the word all that I used? Because all extends beyond the police. No, it doesn't, because you specified the police. I believe you should report a crime. It's that simple. Police or not, professionals or not. What's the point of reporting a crime to somebody who isn't a professional? That fucking makes no sense. Hey, I told my buddy that there was a crime. That counts, right? I said I've never met helpful law enforcement and that I've witnessed them re-victimizing my clients. I don't believe LE, law enforcement, is trained enough in trauma or mental health, and many times that ends in the re-victimizing survivors of sexual assault. I live in the deep south. Police here aren't great. So she's like, hey, listen, this was your experience, and I was explaining my experience. Don't invalidate my experience with your experience. Oh man, I agree with you 100% on that. They're not trained enough in trauma or working with the mentally disabled. I'm just trying to explain my position so it's not taken out of context. Nobody has taken you out of context. I understand what you're saying. I was just stating that statement from you a while ago really rubbed me the wrong way. Reasonable. Mild criticism. So you're telling... Now you're telling women to make you sandwiches and saying ugly women are just mad because they can't find providers. It's misogynistic and incredibly disappointing. Totally fair. these are valid criticisms. Sandwiches are my speciality. My mom taught me how to cook very well. If you take that much offense over the sandwich comment, which I am absolutely 100% joking to get a reaction out of folks for my own entertainment, by all means, I can make you a sandwich myself. And this is where we go back. Can you explain to my tiny lady brain how this is a joke? I don't understand. She was... You've missed the point. Probably on purpose. And you'll notice that... I don't see any response. I don't see any response from him. What's wrong, Mr. Comedian? Can't explain your fucking sexist ass fucking joke? You fuck? God, why are men? Listen, I make a mean sandwich. If some dude's like, hey, yo, like, I'm friends with, ask me to make him a sandwich, I just ask him what kind, because I'm not offended by this. There's a difference between being offended by something and recognizing when something is problematic. You can recognize that something isn't problematic without being offended by it. You'll notice here that she's making fun of his joke. She's making light of this sandwich comment, like this is sexist. She's not offended. I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that statement from you a while ago really rubbed me the wrong way. Now you're telling women to make you sandwiches and saying ugly women are... This is the jokey part. This is the serious... This is serious, but not as serious. This is being lighthearted and then being like, but this is a problem, though. And then he completely dismisses her point about saying that ugly women are just mad because they can't find providers, being sexist and being misogynist and completely disappointing by saying that, well, I do this on purpose. If you take offensive to the Sam, you're offended, and I'm just making a joke about it without actually addressing the fucking problem. Dude bros on the internet, for fuck's sakes. At no point did he actually address her issue in this conversation. He bothered to get into a conversation with a professional in the issue, dismissed her point entirely, ignored her point, said my experience trumps your experience, even though you're a professional and probably have more experience than I do, and then completely dismissing her issue about him saying ugly women are mad because they can't find providers, being misogynistic by talking about sandwiches because he's looking for an attraction. Fuck off. You're a dick. I recommend everybody go check out Katie Daisy's channel. I recommend everybody go check out Mika's channel talking about this because that was fantastic. I will link them in the description below. Go check out Bearded Heretic, his talking about the ACA. Fuck. Fuck. What? Are you upset about this too? I'm pretty upset about it. Oh, I know. It's okay. You gonna have a snack? Okay. He's stress eating now. Go check out Luke at Bearded Heretic. I'll add that to the description too because this is absurdly entitled. The theme of this one is just fucking entitlement. Matt's fucking entitled as shit. This person is fucking entitled as fuck. And Repsion is just, entitlement. Fuck off. Learn to listen, any single one of you. Okay, here's it. It's entitlement and open your fucking ears. Repsion's not listening. This person isn't listening. Matt Dillahunty is not listening. Fucking drop your ego. Take your misogyny, take your entitlement, and shove it up your ass. Alright? I think we're clear. that's it for Dumb Fekk Friday. I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Hopefully I will be able to show up on Rum and Coke Night tonight over on Steve's channel. I will see you guys there. We'll be talking a little bit more in depth about the ACA situation and what's gone on with this. I really do want to talk a little bit more about because this word is manipulative to me. I do want to talk a little bit more about the paradox of tolerance as well as the power differential, because I think that's super interesting. So hopefully we'll cover that a little bit more on Monday, also over on Steve's channel. And I will be back on Wednesday with a new Goblin Reads. Like and subscribe and join the channel, or, you know, Patreon or whatever. I did recently put out a blog that will be available hopefully by the end of this weekend for members. It is already available for Patreons if you are interested in it, and I'm kind of talking about a little bit more of the ACA, the Line, Jimmy Snow, and the sort of Gordian knot of gang stalkers that has made themselves known on YouTube and within the Twitter sphere. If you are interested, that's already available for you guys. It will be available for members hopefully by the end of this week. I have to put it into video format because putting it into fucking text format on the community tab is garbage. Anyway, take a look out for that, and I will see you guys hopefully later tonight. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for becoming a member if you are a member, and thank you for the support, and Puck's getting a drink. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.